what to share with y'all. It's kind of just the whole concept of what true joy is and where we find our joy, what kind of things bring us joy in life. So the thing I want to talk about is, we're all trying to find happiness. That's human nature, is like what makes me happy, you know? Like we're all trying to find what brings us joy, and we try to find that in things that will satisfy us, and a lot of times those things satisfy us temporarily. A lot of times those things are, going out partying. And I'm not saying these things are bad, but going out and getting with guys or girls, or finding that attention from people, or certain relationships you might find that satisfaction in, that's not always going to be there. It might be drugs or alcohol. Those kinds of things bring temporary satisfaction. And like I said, I'm not saying that these are bad. All of these things aren't bad. But they're meant to be enjoyed in their proper context. And so I guess the next question is what is proper context? Like, what does that mean, where do we find that? And I think that's kind of a tough question to answer. To me, proper context is, when you think about it like timing, none of us really know. Because that's something that's kind of in God's hands. But I think the proper context is seeking God. And when you seek out the Lord, He makes those kinds of timing things really clear to you. And I know this might be a little bit deep. This might be a little bit, y'all might not know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. I'd love to talk to you. But the next thing I kind of wanted to go into is when you're seeking out God and you're giving up the things that maybe would satisfy you temporarily, or your own plans that maybe sounded good to you, and you're like, man, this is going to be good, and then it doesn't quite work out how you thought it would. But instead, you give that up to God and you say, you know what, if this isn't what you have for me, and a lot of us, obviously we're all playing sports, if this isn't what you have for me, it's still going to be good, and trusting in that goodness. I'm a perfect example of that. The fact that I'm here right now is an example of my plan not working out how I thought it would, but God's plan just coming in so clearly in my life, and I couldn't be happier where I'm at right now. I definitely didn't want to be back for school my senior year. I wanted to go play pro ball. I didn't even think I'd end up in Utah. My journey has been crazy, just where I've been in life, literally physically and spiritually, mentally, emotionally. But it's been cool to see how when I finally gave up my plans, when I finally gave up what I wanted to do, and I gave those things to God and said, you know what, God, do with this what you will. It's crazy to see how God has just been working through me, in me, around me, and I've gotten to be a part of something that's brings way more satisfaction than any night out with friends or any one night stand. All those things, God has brought me more joy than I could ever imagine through these experiences that I've gotten to go through. And if you haven't experienced that, man, I encourage you to just seek Him out, because it is one of the best feelings ever. I get excited just thinking about it. The thing is you got to get to the point where you got to believe that He's got good in store for you. What that good is may not look like the good that we have in store for us, but His good is so much better. His good is eternal. And that's what He wants to give us. He wants to give us that eternal joy, that joy that we can't find in any night here, in any time that we think is going to fulfill us right now. That's not what God has in store for us. He wants to bring us some joy that's going to last a lifetime, not a nighttime. I like to think about that as, it's not just this one night thing that, I'm going to be real happy tonight because I've trusted in God, or I did this or that. But this joy that I've found, and that I know so many others have found, this lasts a lifetime, and it's exciting. It gives you a reason to live. We're finding that the things you can find joy in is even just waking up every day. I get to wake up and I'm excited just to have another day, because I don't know what God's going to do, but I get to see it. And some days it's like, man, He blows me away. Other days, I see it in the little things. And it's about trying to find it in the little things. In the Bible, I know some of you may not believe in the Bible. If you don't, I would, once again, love to talk to you. But it's all over the Bible how God has good in store for us. And one of the places that talks about this is Romans 15:13. It says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope." One of the things that I thought was interesting about that verse was joy brings hope. So it first talks about how God will fill you with joy, and then at the end it says, so that you may abound in hope. So you have hope because of the joy that He brings you. I thought that was pretty cool. It gives you that reason to live. It gives you those things to be excited about, even when things around you may not be going how you would plan. Things around you may be crumbling, or it may not look quite like what you thought it was. Kind of like my life. I'm going through these things that circumstances are not working out how I thought they would. And right now in my life, I could not be happier with what God has done through me and where He's brought me. The thing I also wanted to let you guys know is He doesn't want to punish us. God doesn't want to make us miss out. He doesn't want to torture us, or like, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. It's actually just the opposite. I mean, like I was saying, like, He wants to bless us. He wants to give us joy and happiness. But He wants us to find those things in Him. And like I was saying, is when you find those in Him, they last forever. You don't lose them. The times when things suck, that's still there. That joy that you can find in Him is still there. So I just encourage you guys to really seek that out. If you don't know how to seek that out, that's awesome and that's great and that's fine. That's the first step. You're right in the right place. And I'm not talking about being at FCA. Obviously, we love having you here, but that's the right place you want to be in mentally, is where you're searching and trying to figure out. And honestly, I would just encourage you to just talk to God. And if you don't know how to do that, just do it. Just spend some alone time with Him. Just kind of, and He'll show you. He'll make those things clear to you. And that's one of the things that I've seen in my life, that just being able to find joy in different things. And that's actually how I started thinking that I wanted to talk about this, was because I woke up one morning and I felt really excited. And I didn't really know why. And as I was having my quiet time, I'm doing my little study time in the morning, and I was just like, man, like God is filling me with this joy just to live. And it's not this joy that, man, I had such a sweet night last night, or I can't wait for this thing to go on, or see this girl, or this or that, or whatever it is that we all look forward to. We all have so many different things we look forward to. And like I said, those aren't all bad, but when they're in God's context, those things are so much better. And so when I was going through that moment, I was like, man, I feel like I gotta share this with these guys. I want them to experience the same joy that I'm seeing, and I know like a couple of these leaders definitely feeling that too. So, I just encourage you guys to maybe think through this. It might be a concept that's real deep and confusing, and you're totally lost right now, and that's fine. But maybe just spend some time by yourself or talking to someone and just kind of think through where you find your joy and maybe where you could find your joy. And we're actually going to do that right now. We're going to take a real short time and maybe just get real close, people right around you. We don't have to get in a billion groups, but maybe just a couple of small ones. Maybe people you feel a little more comfortable with. And we can talk about things like, I feel like this is where I'm trying to find my joy, and maybe this is where I should find my joy. I know I said some of them already, but I wrote down a couple of them, like waking up, just having a new day, connecting with friends. This right here, like this brings me joy. Just getting to see all you guys here, it makes me so happy. You guys don't even know. Playing our sport, we're all athletes. I mean, that can bring us joy. Once again, is it bringing us joy because of the glory it gives us? Or is it bringing us joy because we get to do something we're passionate about? We get to bring God glory. Maybe just trusting in His plans and being in that place where you don't know what's going to happen, but you can find joy in those moments because it's like, hey, I got an injury right now, and I don't know what this is going to look like, but I trust that it's going to be sweet. And when I come out of this, it's going to be sweet. Because He does have good in store for you. He does want to let you prosper. And that doesn't always mean money or fame or success in the world's eyes, but you'll have money and fame and success in God's eyes, and I feel like that's so much greater than anything we could achieve here on earth. So yeah, let's just break up real quick. And I know we're running a little bit late, but if y'all don't mind, if you have to split, that's totally cool. I know we got stuff going on, so just get out if you got to. But if you can't stick around, I'd love to just hear from some of you guys and let you guys kind of talk that through, let you think it through, like where you could kind of find your joy and maybe some places that you're finding it right now that may not be the best. And I think it's good to just get to talk about that. I know last week when my dad was here, if y'all were here, it was pretty sweet. He's an awesome guy. He's one of my best friends, and it was cool for me to get to hear him talk about something he's passionate about and see him lead y'all in the same way. And I know last week in my small group, we talked about things we wanted to do and do better throughout this next week and keep each other accountable on that. And I actually got convicted by one of the dudes in my group who kept me accountable, and I was actually not doing it very well. And when he checked on me, that helped me right there, that moment. And so that's what I think we can have in this community and these people, that we're all doing the same thing, we're all pursuing the same thing, and we all get each other. So yeah, let's do that right now. Let's split up and kind of talk about things.